I'm a patient with lupus and I look forward to chatting with you guys. This one. Is that one? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so let's chat about communication. It's nice to see you guys on a Saturday morning. Great. All right. So because I'm a lupus patient, pretty much it can just be summed up as in one sentence. My life didn't go as planned. Falling down is not a choice, but staying down is. In any given moment, we got two options. We either step up or we give in. I remember telling myself when I got my diagnosis, you got what it takes. But I never really fully realized what that meant with lupus. I'd never heard of it before. I remember waking up one day, smelling smoke. I was like, nah, it's nothing. Get to the next task. A few weeks later, smoke again from somewhere else. Sarina, don't worry about it. You got things to do. Get going. And then again, the same thing a couple weeks later. And then there was a fire, burning, hot, couldn't breathe. I woke up, but there wasn't anyone running to help me. I was surrounded with an emergency, and I didn't understand why no one was helping. I ran out, I asked for help. Sarina, we don't even see smoke. You're fine, there's nothing wrong. Get back to life. Finally, one of the doors I knocked on opens up and someone says, yes, they can help me. Finally, I thought, but it'll take 6 months. You'll get a call in 6 months. Go home, can't do anything right now, wait for the call. Then in 6 months, no, you're okay, all is fine, nothing to worry about. Get back to life, don't worry about it. The smoke doesn't mean anything, but the fire was getting hotter. Finally, someone came to help. Yes, this is bad, let's control the fire. You know what you get when your life burns down? A clear look at the sky. I know this now, not at the time of the diagnosis, but when you get a clear look at the sky, and when you run out of breath from all the appointments, the tests, and the treatments, you get the opportunity to bring a handful of key issues at a time. You build from the ground up, little by little, brick by brick, and it will look different, and different is fine, as I've come to know, because different can also be good. You know, bring you a step forward. Different is okay. And change in life, we unlearn and we learn. No matter any diagnosis or any challenges in life, we realign and we adjust the sails to the winds or the hurricane, in my instance. So this morning, I thought, let's do this. Let's change my alarm clock sound because I got out of bed. So lupus patients, we're all warriors. Some days you just feel like a broken mess, and sometimes you're fine, but we're standing and we're fighting and we're here. Most lupus and chronic illness superheroes share this experience, and we're told that it's all in our heads. It's anxiety. That was my experience. I look too young, too active. It's nothing to worry about. You need to work less. You need to play less sports, coach less. Don't do too much. Don't think about it. The pain can't be that bad. Don't worry, your labs are normal. We've all heard that as lupus patients. Your labs are normal. You're too young to be this sick. Just take a deep breath. You're lucky it's not your kidneys and it's just only your skin. But wait, I'm thinking to myself, isn't a skin an organ too? And let me tell you, skin pain is not fun. And my favorite one that I've heard, put the lupus away in a box on a top shelf in your closet and live your life. Just because one carries it well, it doesn't mean it's not heavy. Normal means something different to every patient. Us lupus patients are all vastly different. A patient can be well articulated, look or have a high tolerance of pain. Some may not have high tolerances of pain. And everyone is really struggling in their own way. They experience extensive symptoms, including chronic pain, and the downgrading of symptoms that we hear sometimes from doctors is really heavy and hurtful, or from our family members and friends. We're often not believed, and so we have to continually tell ourselves, while we're trying to survive each day, that we're not crazy, that we're not broken, but we do need to keep pushing and vocalizing that something is off. The merry-go-round is traumatic, frustrating, exhausting. It creates mistrust and a feeling of hopelessness. And then you just push it away and you start to question yourself. It leaves the patient suffering and disengaging and not wanting to be engaged in any conversation. We need to acknowledge what is happening to our own bodies. We need to accept it, that when our bodies are whispering, we need to speak up before it starts screaming, before the impact of ignoring the irreversible illness as it is progressive. We all need to understand that the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. It's really important for ourselves to know that, as well as the medical team that we work with, as well as the people in our lives, our family and our friends. We may look healthy. So the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. It is there. Patients not only battle debilitating symptoms, but also have to fight to simply be heard. Finding a doctor who simply and deeply listens is amazing. They'll be able to connect the dots and make all the difference in your world. I believe that hearing is not what's being said, and it is critical as patients may not have the same vocabulary that one would expect to be able to share what's happening. Not being believed or heard impacts healing in all aspects. Being believed is the only thing any of us in any challenge in this life needs to feel secure and safe. And how we feel impacts us physically. An approach to healthcare emphasizes that the importance to listening to and understanding patients' stories improves patient outcomes. Empathy enhances communication on both sides and focuses on the emotional, psychological, and social aspects of illness alongside physical symptoms. When the patient's perspectives and backgrounds are taken into consideration, healthcare providers are able to understand the patients and their issues with increased clarity, which then helps curate their own care for their patients and the patient's individual needs and prevents the repetition of healthcare problems, makes things more efficient. Chronic illness patients don't fit into the neat norms and patterns. They present with a variety of symptoms and comorbidities that can bring numerous and different diagnoses. Most of them don't fall within the average testing ranges, but rather we're outliers. The outliers are seen as a deviation from the average on a data plot from what is deemed to be normal limits. But as messy as those numbers look, we need to shift our attention to the outliers in any data set. It is within these numbers, if not ignored, that lay many of the most important insights within the respect to individual patient rather than the prescribed norm. Disability is not invisibility. Yes, we're pretty awesome, that's for sure. If we tap into chronic illness patients in our communities and we truly listen to them, we can help improve and redesign healthcare for everyone, making it more equitable across the board. Complex care patients can radically transform outcomes for the community as a whole. The medical system and how it communicates has greatly morphed over time, and especially the last year given our pandemic. It forced us as a society, as a community, as a global community, to come up with solutions and think outside of the box, look at the outliers, come up with solutions for a collective safety and health. We now have telehealth appointments, which makes attending appointments more feasible and accessible. We had the option during the pandemic to work from home. Chronic illness and disabled Canadians have been asking for such opportunities for some time, and we're here now. Healthcare is more accessible, which is great. There are new social structures allowing a host of daily living needs and processes to be performed over the phone with technology in a different mode of communication. We're all patients in this medical system. And at some point in time, either directly or indirectly, including doctors themselves, doctors have more work to do in less time than ever in history. And they work in the same medical system that we try to navigate on a daily basis. They're working hard and they want to help. And at the end of the day, they're human as well. I love this meme. I think it's the funniest thing ever. And if someone listens to me, I'm like, yep, see you, Mom. And that's the only time we'll wear a dress. We are all patients in this medical system at some point in time. Right? So it's really important to realize that. I believe that we as chronic illness superheroes, or any patients for that matter, are each the head of our medical team. It is the patient that needs to decide if they want to take a given treatment, medication, or therapy. It is the patient's responsibility to participate accordingly. It's not just on the doctors. It is that we who live with the illness day to day, and it is squarely on us to adhere to the daily health management and advice from our medical team. This is what we can build on in helping support clear, honest, and empathetic communication that supports the cooperation model of its two experts. There's only two experts in that model, the medical service provider expert and the patient, who is their expert in their own lived experience, as Michael J. Fox always says. The patient engagement model only improves on the shared decision-making between the patient and the medical service provider, where hopefully the patient feels heard, supported, and both perspectives and experiences are considered. My doctor and I are a team. Any doctor that I meet, and I hope that we're a team. My doctor and I tackle each challenge with solutions derived from communication and conversation. It is up to us as patients to speak up, communicate, share symptoms, what is happening day to day, and come prepared for appointments with questions and notes, just as it is up to our doctors to hear us, know our cases, read our file, and get any updates on tests and procedures and results beforehand to make the appointment time efficient. As I said, doctors are very busy and all of our lives are very busy. If we don't communicate, our doctors can't and don't know the unique challenges that we're experiencing, and therefore can't help us with any advice, directions, resources, and supports. And then they cannot present the best solutions. Communication is a two-way street. I always feel like this when I'm meeting a new specialist. Always, I come with my notes and I'm ready to go. Red marker, I gotta bring that now. I feel truly blessed with my main medical team. I've seen numerous doctors from various specialties throughout my medical journey. But my main doctors have taken the time to get to know me, who I am, what is important to me, and what I need and want out of any possible treatment to reach not only my healthcare goals, but to reach a quality of life. This is a group project, y'all. I remember a couple appointments after my diagnosis, and my diagnosis came a bunch of years into tests and procedures and a bunch of different doctors. Once all the test results were in and the treatment plan was discussed, my doctor asked me how my mental health was. This was a lot. How did I feel about all that was being thrown at me? And how was I truly? Not how are you, but how are you really? Wow, what great questions. No one in years had asked me those questions. Usually with the work that I do, I'm the one asking those questions. Health and healing are multifaceted. It is when the doctors are available for me to reach out to them at any point in time during a tough flare or a tough medical situation. They're there to listen, support, and guide me towards health. And if they can't do that, they're there to walk alongside me and just listen. Picture a tennis match. Oh, this is great. I always ask this question when I was like, hey, what are you doing today? Am I going to see a doctor? Which one? And definitely, sometimes after a doctor's appointment, this is definitely what I feel like. Picture a tennis match. Let's go classic, without aging myself. Let's choose Steffi Graf and Monica Seles, both GOATs in their own rights. Graf hits a fast forehand drive. Seles returns with her mighty two-hand backhand and that grunt. Graf, Seles, Graf. The ball goes back to Graf. That ball is us, the patients. We have amazing specialists who are brilliant at what they do, but they work in their own silos. Chronic illness is so much more. It is complex than just a simple collection of independent conditions, and it truly does feel like we're bouncing doctor to doctor. Can you imagine if Steffi Graf and Monica Seles were ever on a doubles team? That would be an amazing, amazing team. There are other pain points for patients, right? Life doesn't go along plan. We're not all okay every day. But there are pain points for patients that require constant self-communication, which is another type of communication that is very important other than with your medical team. The ongoing tests, procedures, injections, IVs, treatments, blood tests, medications, being immunocompromised, and even immunosuppressed during treatments. The not so fun effects of nausea, fatigue, hair loss. There are financial hardships from medical costs, not being able to work, all while trying to navigate a complex and overworked medical system. A pain point that we talk often about at the BC Lupus Group is the isolating nature, not only of the illness, but the consequence of it in the daily lives. Isolation brings along grief, a loss of independence, and therefore guilt for depending so much on our loved ones. And then there's also the guilt of knowing how hard it is on them to watch us struggle day to day. So much is happening all at once and is painful to watch as life goes by. It feels as if we're alive, but we're not able to live. Communication with ourselves is paramount. Our self-talk guides us, informs our body, and influences our actions and our beliefs. Chronic illness can drastically change our lives. With vast changes comes the stage of grief. It is important to remember that there are things that we will not be able to do yet. It is not a no, but just a no on the table currently. Similarly, there are things that we're able to return to, though, through a new lens, with solutions. As we get stronger and healthier, and as challenging as those tasks and opportunities can be, we may not be able to go many places in a day other than the room and the washroom. But we need to change how we speak to ourselves. When things do change, we'll be able to get to do something rather than have to do laundry. We don't have to go grocery shopping, but we get to go. We get to drive sometimes. Remember, we're not going to be able to be as independent on most days as we used to be. But the way we talk to ourselves matter. Words matter. There have been many new diagnosed superheroes that have joined the BC Lupus Group and have asked constantly what helps during that time of both receiving the diagnosis and when rebuilding our lives back brick by brick. It is essential to give yourself grace, is usually the advice that us vets give. You're living life in a body that is attacking itself. Even our bodies can't get enough of themselves. Grace to know when to rest. Grace to know that there is not much you can do today other than take a beat and then get back to it tomorrow. This was me at one of my training sessions. I had to take a break. So we got some benches together and I laid down. Grace to relinquish control. Because control sometimes is an illusion. If we try to hold on to it, it can truly hurt us more. And we want control, but there's no control in this illness. There's no control in life if we really think about it. Grace to befriend your illness. I call my illness Loopy Linda. Sometimes she's not so nice to me on certain days. Get to know it, the triggers, what can help, what needs to keep it happy, and what your boundaries are. Boundaries are important, I've learned. Or should I say, I keep learning that lesson every day, just to make sure sometimes. I know my boundaries. Here's Loopy Linda. I know my boundaries. I can see them if I squint. And everyone in the Lupus chat will know that I don't follow rules very well. Pacing. Now, let me tell you, I always try to explain it as a teeter-totter. Never fully balanced, but it takes hard work in any given moment. It takes effort and knowledge. It's always managing your energy and your spoons. And sometimes the math just doesn't math. And therefore you have a spoon mortgage. And then you got to rest. And then comes the consequences. I believe, and as I tell all my kids, as I'm a youth worker, we're all free to make choices, but we're not free from the consequences of those choices. So if I choose to spend an all day out, I'm going to feel those consequences the next day. And maybe for a few days as well. Grace to be vulnerable. This is me. Grace to be vulnerable and get to know other superheroes with lupus and chronic illness and share. This one took me a while. I don't want to continue to talk about lupus when all I was doing was going to appointments and talking about it with my doctors all day, every day. Besides, I've got this. Why do I need to join a group? It was after years of battling, and especially after a very traumatic medical gaslighting experience, that it was time. The people around me tried to understand, but it was like I was speaking a different language. They got the gist, but as much as they cared, I just needed to connect and be seen and understood. The group, the BC Lupus group, is there to lend a listening ear, a shoulder, just be supportive with words, check-ins with each other throughout the ups and downs of life, and a lot of laughs. All superheroes are allies, friends, And all superheroes as allies, friends, family members are welcome to join us in all the fun on Monday and Wednesday evenings. Grace to laugh, to make fun of yourself, and to see light in this chaos. Everyone can find some fun or lightheartedness, and in any circus, it truly allows us to step out of ourselves and just exhale and smile. Grace to remember, this is definitely feels like me some days. And I'm sure a lot of us Lupus patients as well. We don't collect our cards or pogs or whatever it is, right? We collect autoimmune diseases. Grace to remember that healing is no small ordinary task. We do it every day. We do the impossible. And if it's just taking a shower, kudos to you. If it's 10 minutes of exercise, that's awesome. Or having a healthy meal, or just chilling on the couch. Keep healing one step at a time. Grace to know that even if you did one thing today, it doesn't mean we can or need to push ourselves to do the same thing another day. Grace to see and appreciate the small, magical moments in life. I think that is the key. That is the gift that Lupus has given me, and that is the way I choose to see it. These are my small magical moments in life. This is my niece Ariana and I doing some sidewalk chalk and going on a walk, and my nephew Kai. Even though life is not always fun with Lupus, this phase has given me the opportunity and time with friends and family that chose to stick around, to enjoy the small moments in life, the moments that otherwise get overlooked. These moments are the true meaning of life and truly a gift. The grace to see a different perspective, step out of yourself, and to own this perspective. Chronic illness that we know as it is in all of our lives is different. It throws us in a spiral, and we have to acknowledge it and we have to adjust. And as a former athlete, I'm fine with that. I have to acknowledge who my opponent is and adjust my game plan. But now with Lupus, it throws that fun word of acceptance in there. A different perspective allows us to acknowledge and adapt and put us on a path of acceptance. Different perspectives and hearing different experiences allows us to not be in a cycle of conditional happiness. Grace to have time to process. Chronic illness is challenging. Allow yourself to jump in that big, cold, dirty puddle. Cry, yell, scream, jump around, and after 5 minutes, get out. Clean up. This processing is truly a path of acceptance. We can't jump over the puddle or walk around it, but we have to walk through it. Progress is not linear. We have to pivot sometimes. But wash, rinse, and repeat, quite literally if you're actually jumping in a puddle, but as many times as possible. This will bring us to unconditional happiness. With acceptance comes a lighter load to carry, fewer expectations, and an opportunity to live in the moment as much as possible. Progress never looks like the top graph, right? It has its highs and lows. Grace to be you, the true essence of who you are, and to know that they're two distinct entities. There's the illness, and then there's you. You are not the illness. Remember that all of us here today, no matter what life has given us, I promised my doctor that this is what I'll do when I go back to work. I've made a pinky promise. Remember that all of us here today, no matter what life has given us, have gotten through 100% of our tough days. So next steps, I challenge all of us here. 1 degree of change. As my doctors know, and I always ask at the end of our appointments, what can I do for my part? And I ask everyone here today, present, streaming live or watching the recording, what will be your 1 degree of change for improvement, for advocacy, to support others? Set a goal, set an intention for what you will achieve over the coming year. Is it to improve the self-talk communication? Is it to improve the communication between you and your medical team? Is it to improve the communication with you and your caregiver or you and your family and friends? I look forward to hearing about everyone's 1 degree of change at the next BC Lupus Symposium. One of my favorite quotes by George Bernard Shaw is, if you have an apple and I have an apple and we exchange these apples, then you will still have an apple and I will still have one. But if you have an idea and I have an idea and we exchange those, we now each have 2 ideas. Get out, be an advocate, share resources, share supports, share what has helped you, shortcuts in your illnesses. Working together will make us stronger on this journey towards a cure, not new treatments, which is great, but we need a cure. And when I is replaced with we, even illness becomes wellness. May the silence battles transform into your loudest victories. I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for your time.